Hello again. This is the lesson walkthrough for Lesson 5 Variables in the Interactive Animations and Games chapter of the Computer Science Discoveries Unit at code.org. And I'm your guide, Mr. Russell. Let's get started. This is a critically important lesson to work and understand as we move forward. And level 1 is yet another prediction. Read the code below and make a prediction. Where will the circle be drawn and what will happen if you change the number in line 1? I'm going to guess that we're assigning 50 to the variable x position, and then that 50 is used here. So I think that the circle is going to be drawn at 5350. And I think that if I change the number in line 1, the circle's x position will change to that updated number. So there it is at 5350, and if I change this to something like 100, I can't change this. It's view only. Moving on. Level 2 follows a video. Make sure that you watch the video. It's on the slide deck. You can also watch it in the Help and Tips tab right here. Introduction to Variables Part 1. Another predict. In which corner of the screen will the circle be drawn? We have x position of 300, and what's the y? This seems different than last year. I think they changed or updated this lesson. I'm going to pause this and look. Okay, it appears to be the same. In which corner of the screen will the circle be drawn? If the x is 300 and the y is 100, 300, 100 will be in the upper right. There it is. Moving on. Level 3, changing variables. Update the values of the variables below so the ellipse is drawn in the bottom center of the screen. Okay. This is the same code as the last level. Change the values to update the position. You do not need to add new blocks or code. The results should match the image on the right. So that looks like 200, 300. I think we're good. I mean, really what they're just trying to convey here is that by changing the numbers here, we update the variable, right? We store that number in the variable and we use the variable down here in the code. Level 4, debug, naming variables. Oh yes, people struggle with this. Remember in class we went through the naming conventions? It's in the slide deck. The program has multiple errors caused by bad variable labels. The errors prevent the program from being viewed in block mode, so the code is in text. Maybe that's why, because it's in text. I don't know. Below are a few rules for naming variables. Labels can't have spaces, so if you look at line 1, size of circle, those spaces have to be deleted. Now, that's confusing, I think, to some people. It's only spaces that are inside of the variable, like the one between size and of and circle. There has to be a space between var and the first letter of your variable label or your variable name that separates the var keyword from the name. So that space has to be there. The space after the name right here before the equal sign, that doesn't have to be there. It will work without it, and it will work without this one. But it's by convention we put spaces in there. It makes it easier to read. So if I change this variable label here to size of circle with no spaces, I have to change it down here on line 6 as well, or it won't work. And that takes care of that one. Now, I'd also like to point out that if you're going to use a variable name that has, it's like a compound word, it has more than one word, use camel case like we talked about in class. So the first letter of the second word should be capitalized, and the first letter of each additional word, size of circle with capital O and capital C. That makes it easier to read. There we go. Even though it works the other way as well, without the capitals. Variables can also not start with a number. This one needs to be deleted. You can have a number. Remember, we could put dimension 1 here, and that's fine, but you can't have it begin with a number or the computer thinks you're giving it a number. So, or we could just delete it altogether. That would also work. And finally, capitalization and spelling must be exactly the same. So with this, Y location, We have a lowercase y and an uppercase L, so this y needs to be lowercase, and that should work just fine. On to the next one. Okay, this is level 5, using a variable many times. So now we're getting to like the real usefulness part of this. Like, why do we even need variables? This is a small part of it. Using a variable many times, the program has only one variable, petal size, but uses it 8 times. This makes it easy to quickly make lots of changes to how your picture's drawn. Update the code so the red petals touch each other. Change the number assigned to petal size till the red petals touch. Try to find the size that makes the most sense. Compare your answers with someone around you. So the red petals are not touching, and you can see we use them for the width and height of all of these 4 ellipses here. So it's used 8 times. So if I increase the number once here, the petals will get larger. If it's 50, getting there. Are those touching? I don't know. I think that looks pretty good. I think that looks better than if they're overlapping, because you can still see that they're individual petals. I mean, you still get the idea that's a flower, right? But frankly, I think 70 works the best for the width and the height. Moving on. The practice. We're going to do all 4 of these, as usual. Practice A, changing variable value. Make the circle big. So big, it fills up the whole screen. Okay? Again, we're using a variable for the width and height. It's now 400. Why not just double it? Works. Next, practice B, debug variable names. Supposed to create the image on the right, not working correctly. Fix it. Update the code to match the image. You don't need to add new blocks. We can't figure out what X is. Oh, that's a hint. We can't figure out what X is. Okay. Whoops. So, looking this over, remember spelling and capitalization count. These are lowercase when we declare our variables. And we have uppercase X and Y here. So, maybe it's just merely change there. Well, yep. Nice. Moving on. The bear. Unused variables. Make the code easier to read. Several variables have been created, but none of them are being used. How can you update the codes of the variable to use the variables instead of specific numbers? You don't need new blocks. So we have ear size, eye size, and center. And we don't know which of the shapes are which, but if I look at the bear, is there a picture of it? So the eyes are black, the nose is black. So I'm thinking that these 3 ellipses are eyes and nose. And the nose looks like it's right in the center of the screen. So that's going to be probably 200, 225. This is the nose. So maybe that's center? No, that's not what I want. Undo. By the way, Command Z is undo. Maybe we want to change the size of that schnoz. Center. And these would be the eyes, so eye size would be here. Check your spelling. So center is the size of the head, I think, is what they were thinking, because they made it 200. That's a large nose. I think we should change this back to, what was it, 20 and 20? And one of the saddle brown ellipse. So these must be the ears. This must be the head. Okay. So what if we change... Yeah. Okay, so it's those 2. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Change this back to 200. And back up. We're going to back up. We're not going to put center there. We're going to put center... size of the head here. Okay, so we don't want it for the second one. Okay, so now if I change center to like 220, okay, the head's a little bigger. Okay. That's a more sensible use of the variable, although it doesn't really say what we have to use them for. It just says we have to use them. The last one is ear size, and we said these must be the ears. Okay. Let's change those. Let's get some big old ears. Oh, it's Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse ears. They're a little big. Mickey Mouse ears. Done and done. Finish. Next is adding variables. Fix the variable names to make the street light appear. Wasn't there a street light on one of these other ones? I don't know. Can't figure out what color one is. Something strange happened to this program. All the variable names at the top got erased. Luckily, the variable names are still being used in the rest of the program. Can you fix the program by putting the correct variable names in the correct spots at the top? Okay. Red, yellow, green. Red's at the top. So that ellipse is going to have the smallest y value. 100, 200, 3. They are in order. Red, yellow, green. So color 1. So this is color 1. Is that what they want? Color 2 is orange. Color 3 is green. And size is 100. There it is. Okie doke. Moving on. The assessment. This is one of the most missed assessments. One of the assessments where most points are missed. The program currently draws a face, but the eyes are two different sizes. Change the program to use the variable for both eyes, for the size of both eyes. Run the code to make sure both eyes are drawn at the same time, and then change the program with different values and choose your favorite size. So when I grade this, I should not see 27 here, unless for some reason that's your favorite size. And also notice on lines 13 and 14, we use the eye size variable here on line 13, but not on 14, which is the other eye. So when we run this, we have one eye of 27. If I change this, it only changes the left eye. So I just need to use eye size for the right eye as well. And there it is. And then I pick my favorite size. There we go. That's my fave. Done and done. And that is it. Let's glance at the challenges. We've got changing the image. Oh, yes. Ooh, nature scene. I feel like that's new this year. Nature scene. I like that. We've done abstract art in the past. I've done that as a project. Maybe we'll change that to nature scene this time. Something to think about. Anyway, hope that helps, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.